My mom sent fake evidence to my husband to get us divorced because I knew about her affair, but now it's given me plenty of free time to ruin her life. Hi, my name's Alice, and I'm 28 as I'm writing this. I'm here because my marriage is in shambles. My husband, Jasper, filed for divorce yesterday, accusing me of cheating. He showed me the proof, compromising photos and suggestive texts between another man and me, supposedly found on my phone. But I never sent those messages. This has taken me completely by surprise, because I never cheated on him, and I have no idea how this happened. Let me be clear, I haven't cheated on Jasper. I love him with all my heart. We've been together since college. Honestly, our marriage, while not perfect, has always felt perfect to me, so I've never felt the need to cheat. And even if it hadn't been perfect, I still wouldn't have because I don't think it's right. However, he has some pretty damning evidence against me, stuff that even I would believe if I saw it. It's like someone meticulously crafted a narrative to destroy my reputation. I don't know if this is Jasper's excuse to divorce me, just looking for a way out. Or if someone has been playing mind games with him to wreck my marriage. I only have one suspicion about who might be behind this: my mom. I've always had a rocky relationship with her. For as long as I can remember, she's shown blatant favoritism towards my younger siblings. It was little things, though sometimes not so little, that made it clear my siblings were the preferred children and I was the daughter she wished she'd never had. That's how it seemed to me, anyway, based on the way she treated me. I won't deny that my self-esteem suffered growing up with that favoritism. It's hard to explain, you only really get it if you've lived it. I've met other people with parents who do this favoritism thing, and they totally get it. My dad's presence made things somewhat bearable. But since he worked long hours to provide for us, I didn't spend as much time with him, and I spent more time with not my mom. Yeah, over time I've started to see her as not really my mom. And it has to do with something I discovered recently. I was visiting my parents for the weekend, helping my mom with chores, because I didn't want to just freeload, when I saw her phone light up with a notification. It wasn't a normal text or social media alert. It was a message from someone saved as first red flag. The only part one could see said, "Can't wait to see you tonight," but it trailed off. You don't find a message like that on your mom's phone, not from your dad, and just leave it. Curiosity got the best of me. I had to look. While my mom was outside gardening, I grabbed her phone. I don't go around snooping, but this felt justified. Not just my curiosity, but because this could be big for my dad. I kept reading, and there was no mistaking what it was about. And there were more. Romantic messages, explicit photos, plans to meet up. The photos were particularly gross, almost making me chuck the phone across the kitchen. The verdict was in. My mom was having an affair. The texts were disgusting, filled with details about their secret hookups, and even talked about my dad, disrespectfully, like he was clueless. I felt sick, not just for myself, but for my dad. Let's just say, no kid wants to see pictures their mom sent to her lover. Therapy material, for sure. Electroshock therapy to erase the memories, even better. But I knew this would be so much worse for my dad, and he didn't deserve this. Well, no one does, but especially not my dad, who's the kindest person I know. I was ready to storm out into the garden and have it out with her right then and there. Didn't care if the neighbors heard. But I held back. I thought it would be better if my dad did this, since I wanted him to have more information than her in case of a divorce. He deserved to know the whole truth, while my mom could keep thinking everything was fine. So, I just told her I was going out, to avoid being there with her, and only came back late, at bedtime. Calling her Mom feels wrong, even now. I barely slept that night. I kept replaying the messages in my head, thinking about best-case scenarios, the fallout. Couldn't shut my brain off. The next day, I figured I had to say something. But before I could get my dad alone, he left for work early. I was stuck with her. The worst part? I suspect she'd figured out I'd read her message and came to confront me. She probably thought I hadn't told my dad yet, which I hadn't. She said it was a mistake, that it meant nothing, and she'd end it immediately. I told her that was the least she could do, but she still had to tell Dad. I wasn't going to keep this from him. He deserved to know. I gave her a deadline. 1 week to tell him, or I would. She agreed, but I could tell she was stalling. I stood my ground. Meanwhile, I tried to go about my life, but I constantly checked my phone for a message from my dad. I'd gone back home, but the only texts from him were the usual, "How's your day?" kind of thing. I kept asking my mom if she'd told him yet, but it was always an excuse. "I need the right moment," or, "I'm trying to find a way to tell him without breaking his heart." About 5 days later, she called and said she'd ended things with the guy, and we should just bury this secret for the sake of my dad and my siblings. I said no, and I was coming back to tell him in person. I don't live far from my parents, just a few towns over, but far enough that we don't see each other as often as I'd like. At least, not my dad. I planned to go Saturday morning, when my dad would be home all day. I didn't want to tell him right before work. I wanted him to have time to process it. Friday night, I'm out with friends, and I see my mom leaving a club, getting into a car. Yep, it was the same guy she was cheating with. I recognized his face, even though he was dressed up now. I had a friend follow them. The car pulled up to a motel. My mom and her lover got out. Turns out, she was still seeing him and had lied to me. Now I had pictures of her. I still didn't want her to get one last hurrah, so I followed and confronted her right there. But she wasn't even ashamed. Just told me to mind my own business and walked into the room. I told her, fine, if that's how she wants to play it, it's time Dad knew everything. She didn't care, just went inside. My plan was still to visit my dad early Saturday morning, but my husband had other plans. I didn't mention it, but he's deeply religious and values honesty and loyalty above all else. When I woke up early, he was sitting on the couch, phone in hand, looking exhausted, like he hadn't slept all night, which he probably hadn't. On his phone were screenshots of text messages between another man and me. The messages were graphic, just like the ones my mom liked to send. I tried explaining that someone must have hacked my phone or that the evidence was fake, but he didn't believe me. To him, the proof was undeniable. He said he'd trusted me completely and now realized it had been a waste. I begged him to give me a chance to prove my innocence. Told him I could show him my phone, anything. But to him, I'd probably deleted everything by then. He'd already made up his mind to divorce me. It's impossible not to think my mom is behind this. She didn't care that I'd caught her, she had a plan. Now she's ruined my life because I was about to ruin hers. I've been sitting here for hours, alone. Jasper's gone. I haven't seen my dad because I'm dealing with this. Not that I won't tell him now. I will, and my mom will suffer. I'll make sure my dad takes her to the cleaners in the divorce, that's for sure. But my post is about how I can prove my innocence. It's not like my mom is going to confess, and Jasper doesn't care to believe anything other than the screenshots he got. Maybe other people can think of things I haven't. Before continuing, don't forget to subscribe. New stories every day. Update 1. I went to my parents' house and confronted her. Of course, she didn't admit anything. That would have been too easy. Instead, she deflected, manipulated, turned my accusations around, and questioned my sanity. Told me if I'd been unfaithful, I should face the consequences. My mom went to these lengths not out of hate for me, but to protect herself. She knew I'd tell my dad about her affair. If that happened, her whole world would crumble, her marriage, her social standing, everything she'd built. So she decided to preemptively discredit me, making me look like the cheater. That way, she could spin any accusations I made against her as lies stemming from my supposed guilt. Still, I decided to tell my dad the truth, evidence and all. The most gut-wrenching moment came when I finally told him. I thought I had the key to clearing my name and exposing her lies. But she'd beat me to it. She'd already spun her own narrative where I was the unfaithful one trying to cover my tracks by blaming her. It was diabolical. My dad listened, but he was hesitant. My mom had sown enough doubt that he questioned everything I said. He asked why his own wife would lie about their daughter. I was speechless. Of course he'd trust his wife of 30 years over me. I feel like I'm in a nightmare. My dad looks at me differently, like he's trying to figure out if I'm even the daughter he thought he knew. To him, I'm the cheating daughter who can't own up to her problems and needs to blame other people. My marriage is in ruins. And my mom walks around with this air of victory, pretending nothing happened. My mom has done plenty of awful things, but never to this level. She destroyed everything I love to save her own skin. I wouldn't say I feel betrayed. It's my mom, after all. I know what she's like. But something inside me feels off. It's not anger or betrayal, it's just a desire to ruin her life until there's nothing left. I'm not giving up. If she wants to play hardball, that's what she'll get. This is just a setback. When I'm done with her, she'll wish she'd never had me. Scratch that, she probably already does. I think it would be better to say she'll wish she'd never messed with me. Update 2. Sorry it took so long to update. Since everything went down, I've moved back into my parents' house. It's not ideal, living under the same roof as my mom after uncovering her betrayal. It's like walking through a minefield. But I'm going to use it to infiltrate and destroy my mom's life like I said I would. Plus, with my divorce still in progress and no other place to go, it seems like the only option. At first, I thought being here would allow me to gather more evidence against her. If I could find even a shred of proof to expose her lies, maybe I could clear my name with my dad and repair some of the damage. But my mom is cunning, almost disturbingly so. Her phone? Factory reset. She's not slipping up, not making suspicious calls, not leaving any trace of her wrongdoing. She's so composed and calculated, it's infuriating. Every time I try to catch her making a mistake, I come up empty. It's like she's mocking me without even saying a word. Desperation can make you do crazy things. One day, while in my room, I started thinking about my mom's affair. How long has this been going on? What other secrets is she hiding? I got the idea from reading your comments. A cheater doesn't just cheat once, or for a short period of time. It's likely my mom has done it for a long time, and with different people. That's when it hit me. A DNA test. It might lead to nothing, but if it came back the way I hoped it would, goodbye mom. If my mom's been unfaithful for years, maybe there's something buried in our family history that would reveal the truth. My siblings and I had never questioned our paternity before. We'd never had reason to. But now seemed like a good time. So I did it. I secretly ordered a DNA kit for myself, my 17-year-old brother, and my 13-year-old sister. Getting the samples was tricky. I waited for the perfect moments to collect them: hair, saliva from a glass, a toothbrush, anything, without raising suspicion. It felt wrong, invasive even, but I was desperate. Weeks later, the results arrived. I opened mine first. 100% match with my dad. For a brief moment, I felt like I'd just been paranoid and was about to lose my money and time. Then I opened my brother's. No match. Then my sister's. No match. My brother is 17, my sister is 13. We're talking long-term infidelity here. My mom's been doing this cheating thing for a long time, and she's gotten really good at it. My siblings have no idea. And my dad? He's been raising kids who aren't even his, while my mom thinks she can keep ruining lives like it doesn't matter. I don't even know where to begin. Now I have concrete proof. Not that I didn't before, but if my dad decides not to believe me again, he can go and do the tests himself, then tell me how it went. Update 3. Even though the DNA results are undeniable proof of my mom's infidelity, I decided not to confront her directly without a plan. I can't risk her twisting the narrative again. She's too good at manipulating, and I've already seen how easily she plants doubt in people's minds. If I'm going to expose her, I need recorded confessions so there's no way for her to weasel out of it. So, a few days pass. I watch her carefully, looking for an opportunity. She continues acting like nothing is wrong, completely calm and confident that I can't prove anything. And then, one day, the opportunity arrives. My dad is at work, my siblings are at school, and the house is silent. I decide it's now or never. I slip my phone into my coat pocket, activate the recording app, and head downstairs to confront her. My heart pounds as I approach her. I tell her I know about her affairs and the truth about my siblings. For a moment, she looks surprised. Then her expression changes. She realizes I'm up to something. She demands to see my phone, but I refuse. She snatches it from me and smashes it on the floor. As I watch her destroy it, I feel both helpless and furious. The situation escalates quickly, and she starts taunting me for trying to outsmart her. She accuses me of plotting against her. Maybe it was her overconfidence, but that's when she starts admitting things. She says she never loved my dad and only stayed with him for his money. She reveals that my brother and sister aren't my dad's, but the result of her long-term affair with a man she actually loved. Confidence is the best way to get confessions, and my mom was giving me everything I knew. She makes it clear that she doesn't care about me or my dad. She even says that I'm just a reminder of the life she hated, something she had to deal with for years. It was worse than I thought. Not only did she not care about cheating, but she didn't care about my father at all. I know this because she said she was only with my dad so he could provide for her kids, all while she could live worry-free with another man. However, I knew she wouldn't be dumb enough to say all that, knowing that I could be recording her with my phone. So, when she destroyed my phone, it was my old one, which was already having some issues. My new phone was in my pocket, recording everything. If you think this is bad for my mom, let me tell you, it hasn't even begun yet. Every time I discover something about her, my desire for revenge gets stronger. Update 4. This update is going to be crazy. It's going to be hard to tell this whole thing because of how much has happened, but here's the deal. I'd made a decision. I was packing my bags, ready to leave this toxic mess behind. I couldn't stand being in this house a minute longer, not with her. My work here was done. I had nowhere to go, but I could probably ask a friend to crash for a while until I figured it out. What I didn't know was that I didn't want to be around when everything blew up. I was almost done packing when I heard it. At first, it was a low murmur, and I tried to make as little noise as possible so I could hear what was going on. I still couldn't hear very well. Maybe I'm a little deaf and need to see a doctor because I was missing out on some of the gossip. But it all got solved when the voices got louder, and then I heard it. It was my dad. He was yelling. I'd never heard him yell like that before. I knew what was happening downstairs, I just wasn't there to witness it. I ran down to find something even better than I'd imagined. My dad was standing in the living room, screaming at my mom. His face was red, his hands were shaking, and there, in the middle of it all, was my brother, Jay, looking completely devastated. He was crying. Beside him was our younger sister, Lucy. She looked scared, like she didn't fully understand what was happening, but I knew. My dad was yelling, asking my mom how long she'd been lying to him. He was demanding answers about my siblings, asking if they were even his. My mom just stood there, frozen, like she was caught in some invisible beam that wouldn't let her move. Here's the thing. Before I started packing, I left him the DNA test documents and the recording on a flash drive, then went upstairs to pack. In that time, maybe 30 minutes, he'd read and listen to everything that led to this moment. My mom couldn't get out of this one. She couldn't manipulate the truth this time. My dad asked if it was all true, and I told him if he still had doubts, he could get tested himself and check. He also saw my bags and asked where I was going, but I told him I wasn't staying there another second. What I needed to do was done, and now they could sort things out on their own. My dad said they weren't sorting out anything because my mom was leaving as soon as she grabbed a few belongings. She finally found her voice and said she wasn't going anywhere. I told them I didn't care how they worked it out, but I was leaving. I also wasn't going to let my brother and sister be caught in the middle of this mess. I grabbed both of them by the arm and led them out of the house. My mom and dad could fight it out, destroy each other, work through their mess, but my brother and sister needed me now, and I wasn't going to let them face this alone. Update 5. My parents are officially divorced now. Fastest divorce in history. No fighting over child support, no alimony, nothing for my mom. But the divorce is only part of what my dad is doing against my mom. He's filed a lawsuit against her for deceiving him all these years. He wants every penny he spent on kids who weren't his. My mom thought she'd just go back to her lover and everything would be fine. Wrong. Maybe she loved him, but to him, she was just another woman he slept with, not even the only one. Besides a wife and kids, he also had other mistresses. Yeah, a real stand-up guy. She's living with her sister, the only one who's taken her in. Maybe it's because her marriage also ended the same way, though without kids that weren't the father's. She should have learned from her sister, taken it as a lesson, because her sister now lives in a tiny place, and the spare room is a basement. That's where my mom is living. As for my siblings, they're staying with my dad. He's embraced them fully. I see him trying so hard to be a better father. I never thought I'd see this side of him. He's been so patient with my brother and sister, trying to undo all the damage my mom caused. My mom got joint custody, but neither of my siblings wants to live with her, or even see her. Seems I'm not the only one. For those asking about Jasper, our divorce is finalized, too. He tried to use my mom's evidence to screw me over in the settlement, but the judge saw those fake screenshots as an attempted scam. He got fined and had to agree to split our assets 50-50. Yeah, he also wanted us to get back together after the judge told him they were fake, and only then did he realize it. My lawyer and I took a closer look at those screenshots when we received them as evidence, and we were able to spot many details that showed they had been edited. At first glance they looked real, but Jasper had to wait for a judge to tell him that. That's why I haven't gotten back with him. He trusted those screenshots more than what I told him, and he wasn't capable of even giving me a chance. Why should I give him one? For those who asked, yes, I have a job. I just took some vacation time when my marriage fell apart. Needed the time to get my revenge on my mom. And I'd say it was time well spent, because a trip to the beach wouldn't have given me the same satisfaction. I'm still not done with my mom, though. There's still my lawsuit against her for destroying my marriage and Jasper's lawsuit for dragging him into this mess with the doctored images. That's on top of my dad's paternity fraud lawsuit. My mom still has some karma coming to her, and I'm not resting until she has nothing left. Update 6. Reading my last post, just to remember where I left off, it's funny to think I said I wouldn't rest until my mom paid for everything. Well, it's resting time. I feel like a Viking chilling in Valhalla. My dad got some of what he lost back because of the paternity fraud. If you're wondering how much, we're talking mid-six figures. My mom has only been able to pay back a portion, which is what she got in the divorce. She opted to keep the savings instead of the house, but she's had to give it back to my dad to pay for her fraud. Remember, fraud related to kids who are hers, but who don't even want to see her. My older brother has blocked her, while my younger sister spat on her clothes the day she came to pick her up for some mommy-daughter time. My mom said it was time for them to be together, and my sister responded with that spit. She didn't even try to have her mommy time with me, and good thing, because it wouldn't have been a spit she would have gotten from me. It would have been mommy on the floor time, getting kicked in the ribs. Jasper won his lawsuit, too, but only got back what he paid in fines during the divorce. As for my lawsuit, for her causing the ruin of my marriage, I got a $25,000 settlement. Still, I don't think that was enough to ruin her life. However, the fact that she's homeless now does make me feel like her life has imploded. I can see her sleeping on a park bench on my way to work, now that even her sister has kicked her out. I expected my mom to at least chip in some money for living with her. But that woman, a real leech, doesn't know what work is, and never will. So now she's on the streets. Now that I've ruined her life, I feel at peace. I know it's not what those who asked me not to take revenge on my mom were hoping for, but it's what my heart needed. And I'm going to listen to my heart, not a bunch of serial forgivers who let people walk all over them and still say thank you. Sorry if it's not the ending you hoped for. It was pretty obvious from the start that my mom and I wouldn't end up singing Kumbaya around a campfire. I could even be considered nice because my first reaction when I see her sleeping there is to go and destroy that bench so she doesn't even have a place to sleep. That's the level of hate I have for her.